Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Excel. In this module, I want to cover the basics of Microsoft Excel, how to get started, creating a little spreadsheet, doing a little table, a little graph, how to work out some formulas, and how to sort a list. So first of all, let's have a look at what you look at when you first open Excel. So you have the ribbon across the top, which you start with on the Home tab, and on the Home tab, all of the common features are available to you. Then you have the Insert tab. So if you want to insert something into a spreadsheet, this is where you should look, the Insert tab. So you've got features, more advanced features there, photographs, shapes, pictures, charts, and other things. Page layout is all about layout of the spreadsheet, and if you've got shapes, you can move them about, bring them forward, send them to the back. And then this one is probably the most common one if you are wanting to look at formulas. So you have the basic formulas there, which we'll have a look at in a minute, then recently used, and financial groups, lots of different functions, over 450 functions that there are in Excel, many of which you'll never ever use. And I would say to people, if you're using more than 50 functions, you're quite an advanced Excel user. So don't worry about judging your level by the number of functions you use. For example, these cube functions, if you know how to do cube mathematics, you might know how to use these. Otherwise, you would be keeping away from them forever. So those are the functions. Then you've got a data tab where you've got some features that you can bring data from an external source like Access or the web. You've got stocks and shares and geography, which are quite cool little features. Sorting and filtering lists, and then some analysis you can do at the end there. The review tab is where you've got spelling, check spelling, and lookups, and one place that you can protect the worksheet. View, different views. You can click on different views here and look at your sheet slightly different. Developer is for advanced users. Then you have help and options there to contact Microsoft with an idea, give them feedback if you think there's a feature missing, and then Power Pivot is an add-in which you can use once you get a bit more advanced. But back to home, let's have a look at what we're looking at on this screen. So across the top you have the column letters, A, B, C, D. There are over 16,000 columns, so this is a huge program. The rows, coming down, there are 1.5 million plus rows. Again, a huge area to work with. Both of these are in a sheet, so a column and a row, and this little box that you can see me clicking on is called a cell, and it tells you where you are in this name box there. So I'm in column E, row 8. So cell reference is E8. That's how you work it. So now I'm in cell A1. I'm on sheet 1, and you can just get another sheet like that. Keep clicking. Now there's no limit on the number of sheets you can have, each of them with 1.5 million rows and over 16,000 columns. The only limit is the memory on your computer. If you've got an old computer, you'll probably struggle having, not millions, but lots of extra sheets. You don't need to create extra sheets unless you absolutely want to. Now you can double click on this sheet 1 there and give it a name. So I'll call this one my sales, just for an example, and then click away. Now what I want to do is to show you basically how to create a little pie chart for some maybe household spends, and it's always good to start using Excel at home and keep using it at home so you can then build up your skills and then transfer those skills into your work environment. So I'm going to type a list. So let's have some categories that we spend at home: car tax, electric, gas, whatever you want to put there, water. These are all fixed costs. Let's have food and maybe booze if you drink. Now you see there I've not done a capital letter on that one accidentally, so I want to go back in there now. In Excel, if you click back into that cell, and go to do a capital letter, it overtypes what's in there. So I'll just click away. I'm going to do undo, which you've got at the top there, to put it back with a lowercase. Now if you want to get into that cell, there's two ways of doing it, well, three ways really. I can double click on it as opposed to just clicking. So I double click and then I can move my cursor and change that to a capital B. Or I can click on it once, and then up on the top here we've got this row which is called the formula bar, and I can fix it up there. So I could have done it up there, and then if I've done that I need to press enter, or I'll click this tick which says enter as well. So I'll just click the tick. So if you do a mistake, now if I type a longer word, let's type entertainment, it looks like entertainment has overlapped into column B, but it hasn't. It's just there's not enough space. So what you can do is you can move your mouse up to the top here on the dividing line between the A and the B, and if you want you can physically just drag that wider, or a quicker way would be to just sit your mouse there and then tap twice on your left button, double click, and it will do auto fit. It will auto fit for you, so it will make it sit in that cell. Now when you use numbers, I'll just try and show you these numbers. I'll just go 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then I'll make this smaller. So with numbers you sometimes get these little hashes, and a lot of people will see hashes in an Excel spreadsheet when they're at the beginning of their sort of learning process, and they will delete that because they think it's wrong. It's not wrong, there just isn't enough space to show you the answer. So you just need to widen the column like that at the top, which I have just done. Now under that, entertainment, I'll do a total, and then we'll have a title at the top. I'll call it amount, and then the whole thing I want to make it slightly a bit more interesting than what it is at the moment. So I'm going to highlight all of this area because I want to colour the area and put borders on. These lines that you can see on the screen do not print off. So if I show you print preview, for example, so print preview, I'll just go file, print, which is print preview as well. You can see there's no lines there that's going to be printed off. It's just the words that I've typed. And I'll just go back. This arrow takes you back. So I want to put lines on this, and the way you do that is you highlight it first of all, and then this area here where it says font, there's a little down arrow there, and you've got all these different styles of borders, and I want all borders. So I'm clicking on all borders, and I click away, and you can see that all borders is on there. Now where I'm going to put the money, the figures, I want to colour this in yellow. So next to the borders you have a little paint pot with lots of different colours. I want yellow, and yellow is actually showing, so I don't need to select from this list unless I want to change it to a different colour. If I just want yellow, I can click on yellow, like so. Now the font, this is the font, the word at the moment is this, Calibra 11. I can change that to whatever I want, so I will change that to, I'll just type the letter T to get down to the T's because I like this font. It's my personal preference, and you can see how it's slightly different to these. And I also want it to be red. So red is showing there. I don't need to drop the arrow down unless I want to pick a different colour. I just want red, so I'm going to make it red. Now in other programs, once you change the font style, so if I just come to a blank cell and click on red and bold, and I'll make this one bold, it just stands out a bit more when you make it bold. So if I click into this cell and type my name, you can see it's red and bold, but if I click underneath it, it's still the same as what it was to start with. So each of these rectangles you can format separately. So I'll just show you. I'll change the font color on this one to whatever color that is, and I'll make it underline. Then I'll type my name. You can see that, but underneath that it's back to normal. Now if I wanted a few cells to be a particular format, I can click on bold, underline, italic and underline, and I'll put borders on, and I'll color it in, and I'll make the font red. All of those things. So all this area now I'll just type in this area and press enter and come down, is going to be the format that I selected from that option. But outside of that area, it's still how it was. Now it's picked up that format because I'm directly below this table, and that's one of the features Excel does. So if I come down a bit further, it's still picking it up. So I'll go to the right. There you go, it's back to normal. So it's just a clever format that, if you don't want that format, that's a good, I could say I did that on purpose, but I didn't. If I didn't want this format on this cell and that cell, I could highlight these. And I could go and knock all these off and put that back to no fill and take the red off. Or I could simply click into a blank cell, which I know is blank. Even these words, it's got no format on. And I can use this feature, Format Painter, which will copy the format only, not the word. And then I can just wipe it over this. So I've copied the actual border there, because there's a border on there. If I didn't want the border, click on a blank cell completely and click on Format Painter. And then I can just wipe that off altogether. So it's now off all completely. And if I wanted to do multiple things, let's say I want that format on a lot of cells. If I double click on the Format Painter, double click, it will stay on and allow me to click around like this. So wherever I click, I'm copying that format across this spreadsheet, even if there's nothing in that cell. As soon as you start typing, it will knock the paintbrush off and continue with that format. So I don't want this electric to be bold, so I'll click on one that isn't bold, Format Painter, paste it over that one, and there you go. Now let's put some figures in here. Let's say we spent, now I've got this as an amount, but this could be an annual or a monthly or weekly. But if I just say 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever I want there, just type some random figures in there. Now I don't fill in the total cell because there is a feature in Excel that will add that up for me. Now I want these to be represented as pounds, so I need to highlight them and format them into pounds. Now in this area of the ribbon, still on the Home tab, it says number. The first button there is accounting format. This little drop down list shows you accounting as well. So I could come in here. I could go right down to the bottom and click on this option and go accounting, but they're all going to do the same thing. But the quickest way at this stage is this. Just click this button and it will put the pound signs on, and it's automatically widened the column so that can fit. Now the difference between, if I just type 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the difference between accounting and, well, one of the difference between accounting and currency is that when you select, so that's a currency one, when you select accounting, you see how the pound sign is left aligned, whereas currency sits tight to the figures. So it's just personal preference really, but I find accounting easier to look at. Now to add this up, I want to get my mouse underneath this list and use a formula that will add that up. Now the formula to add up a list is the AutoSum function. And this is sitting here. It says AutoSum, and if I drop the little arrow down, you can see it in there. There's a few other ones there. They're the most common ones. We'll go through those in a minute. They're the most common ones. It also sits on the Formulas tab, as I've shown you already. The same list is there, so you could come onto there, but because it's so common, it's on the Home tab. Now, if I click on that, it will select the list, and in this case, it selects the correct list. And it tells you on the formula bar, sum equals sum B2 colon, means including everything in between, B9. B2 to B9, that's what I want. So I click the tick, or I can press enter, and then it will add it up. If I change any of these figures, so I'll just go change that figure, this automatically will recalculate straight away. So that's a really good feature. I'll put a different figure in there, make it a little bit bigger, and it's recalculated again. Now I want to get rid of all this stuff that I was doing earlier on, so I'm going to highlight the column. So that's gone down 1.5 million rows. I'm going all the way across to that column. I'm just dragging my mouse, selecting it. So I need to get rid of this. So I'm going to press delete to get rid of all the text, but I need to get rid of this format. Now I'm going to say no fill. I'm going to go black, automatic, should I say, and I don't want any borders, no border. So that should now be back as it was, default, not messed up by me. So the next little thing I want to do is I want to put a little pie chart next to this. So we've got our figures. I don't want the total on there. I'm just going to highlight that area like that. Now the pie chart, or a pie chart, is on the insert tab, and then you come across into the middle where it's got charts, and then you've got these pie charts, different styles of pie chart. This is the one I want, 3D. There you go. Now at the moment it's just not giving you much information. The colours are all displayed down the bottom there. To move a graph, you basically sit your mouse with this big cross near the edge, because there's different elements. You don't want it there. This is called a plot area, and you can't move a graph. You can move this inside this bigger box, but you can't actually move it around. Whereas that one, I can move the whole graph. I'll just push it up to the top, and then these little circles allows me to resize this, make it a little bit smaller, and then push it up again, and then I'm going to make it smaller again, so it's going to fit in the same sort of area as the table. So now this has gone a bit small on me, but I don't want this, so I'm just going to click on that and press delete. And I don't want the chart title either, so I can get rid of that, and then maybe I can make it a little bit bigger, like so. So at the moment this isn't telling me anything, but I'm going to format this. So I'm going to right click on these segments, or I call them cheeses. Right click, or right mouse click, add data labels. So I'm going to add the data labels, so it's giving me these figures. I don't really want these figures twice, so I'm going to right click again, and once you've added the data labels you can get format data labels, so that's what I want. And when you click on format data labels, this pane comes out the right hand side, which gives me the option of percentage, which I do want, and category name, which I also want. But I don't want the value now as well, so I'm taking that off, and you must take the value off last because otherwise it'll all disappear. Now you can see that this is a bit cluttered, so I do need to make this a little bit bigger, like so. So now that is a perfect size. I can see all of that, and you can format, you can pick these styles at the top. If I do click on this style, I like the black, but it's put this back on again, so I just have to go back and tidy it up and get rid of that. And if I click in the middle, I can maybe make this area a little bit bigger, not a lot. And what you can also do, which is really cool, is you can pull out one of these segments if you wanted to. So if I click on tax, for example, or double click it, so you've got these little circles just around this little bit, as opposed to all of them having the circles. So if I double click, it's isolated, and now I'm dragging it, I'm clicking and holding my mouse and dragging that out so it stands out. Now if the tax figure, this graph is looking at these figures, so if the tax suddenly gets larger, so I will make it larger, watch what happens. The graph will automatically react and display that change. Now my own household expenses, I do have these graphs. I have a graph for weekly spend, monthly spend and annual spend, and it's quite interesting to see where you're spending your money. You have to be quite disciplined in entering the data, otherwise it becomes slightly pointless. But I've been doing it for about 10 years now, so mine is quite good, and I've got 10 years worth of data of spend, and I can see where I've spent, and it has stopped me having things on HP, for example. Just looking at this, at one point in my life, something like 39% of all my expense was on on car HP hire purchase. So I soon got rid of those, paid them off, and then now it's back to what it should be. So that's how you do a little graph, and that's how you do a little table. Now if I just put some more figures in here, so if I type in, let's put some days of the week. So if I put Monday in there, I could type Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. But in Excel you've got some really cool tools where if you click on it like that, so I've got this white cross. If I go to the edge, I've got a big black cross, which you've already seen when we were selecting the graph. that allows me to move this if I've typed it in the wrong place, so I don't have to delete it and then type it over there if it was meant to be there. I can just pick it up and move it. But you've also got in the corner a little black cross which allows you to drag either down, and you can see it's going to fill the days in, or across. I just want to go across to Friday like that, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it would go all the way, keep going round Saturday, Sunday. I will just put it Saturday, Sunday, and then it will start again on Monday, and then I can pull that back because I don't want that one. Now I'll get rid of this. So you've got that ability to fill in a list. It also will do this. If I type in week 1, Excel's quite clever and it assumes that you want to do a sequential list. If you type in QTR1, it will also understand that you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Any word with a number after it, it will pick it up and assume that you want to do a list like so. Now, if I wanted to do a sequence with dates, I could do the same sort of thing. So if I type in today's date is what, the 26th of the 1st, 21, Excel will automatically assume when you get this little black cross that you want to increment by 1 day, which it has done. Now, because I typed a date, Excel has formatted all these cells. I'm just going to colour them yellow so you can see them. It's formatted all these cells to the date format. So if I click out of it, below it it's general, but in it it's date. Now, if I change that date to general, back to general, you can see it's a number. So every date to the computer is just a number. If I put it back to date, it'll go back to a date. Now, if I put these numbers in, 1, 2, 3, 4, for example, and I highlight them and change them to a date, you can see that Excel, number 1 was the 1st of January 1900, then the 2nd, then the 3rd, then the 4th. That's what they equate to. So the number counting 1 day every day until now has got up to 44,222. So it started off with 1 on the 1st of January, and it's got all the way up to that number now. So because of that, you can do sums on dates. So I'm just going to put this back to a date, and I'm just going to delete this list, and I'm going to put that back to general as well, so there's no dates in there. So if I wanted to add 10 days onto this date, I could go equals that day plus just the number 10. And then it will add 10 days on. If I tick the formula, so it's added 10 days onto that date. That's how it works. If you want to do basic sum, so I'm just going to delete all of this stuff off now by highlighting it and pressing delete, and I am going to get rid of that yellow bit, and I am also going to put it all back to general. Some of it is on general, but those dates would be on dates. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do that all the time on Excel, but I'm just going to put today's date in here again. If, for example, there is a date there, I'll colour it up so we can see where it is, and somebody deletes that date, I want to type 123, 123, but because there was a date there before, Excel's remembered that and it's formatted it as a date, which I don't want. So you would have to go in and put it back to general if you wanted it to be 123. So just be aware of that. It's not the end of the world if it changes over. You just put it back to general or whatever format you want through this drop down list. So let's get rid of these two. And don't want no format either. I'm just going to put some figures in these dates, underneath these days. So some random numbers. Now to do a sum, if I want to do a normal sum, so I'm not adding up a list, I'm just doing a basic sum, you can do this. Every formula starts with equals. If you're typing it, you need to put equals in. If the computer's doing it through a function like we did earlier, the computer puts the equals in. Now, I could type K2, but I think it's easy for you to just click onto K2. So if I want to add K2 and L2 together, I click on K2, I do a plus sign, and I click on L2. That's what I want. I check it on the formula bar, and then I click the tick. It comes up with 57. Now to check it's worked it out correctly, which it has, you could highlight these two, and then look down on this status bar at the bottom, and it gives you the average, the count of how many numbers there are, and then it gives you the sum. But that's just a quick look ready reckoner. As soon as I click off this, it will disappear. Now it's gone. This one won't disappear because that's where the formula is. Now if I want to do a multiply, I do equals. Now when I type equals, it just overtypes a previous cell. So I'll do the same again, click on the 12. Now the time symbol is the asterisk, it's not the X. You need to use the asterisk, and then click on that one, tick, gives you the answer. And then divide, if I do equals, same cell, K2, / is divide, and then L2. Check it up the top and click the tick. Now you get a number less than 1 there, but that's still the correct answer. Just to prove that, I'll put that to 6, and then that should come up with 2. And there you go. And the last one is minus, so equals K2 minus L2, check, tick. There we go. Now, all the rules of maths apply, or math if you're in the States, apply when you're using Excel, and Excel will apply the rule of maths. So if you've got a formula where you have got some division, multiplication, plus and minus in it, you may well find that Excel does a formula slightly different. So what I want to show you now is this. So if I type in equals 2 plus 4 divided by 2. Now if you do that in your head, most of you will come up with the answer of 3. And some cheap calculators would also say 3, a standard calculator. But a scientific calculator and the rule of maths, which is what Excel is going to do, is going to come back with the figure 4, because the rule of maths is, are there any brackets or indices? Then it's times, divide, plus, minus in that order. So in this particular sum, this is going to come back with 4 because it's going to do that divide first. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then 2 plus 2 is 4. So if I tick that formula, it will come back with 4, which is correct. Now if I wanted that to be 3, I would have to force this bit, the 2 plus 4, by opening and closing a bracket around them. I would have to force that to go first. So 2 plus 4 first, then divide the answer by 2. So that will now say 3. The mnemonic to remember that is BODMAS. In the UK it's BODMAS. I don't know what it is in the US and other countries, but we remember it with BODMAS. You usually get taught that when you're about 9 or 10 at school, and then forget it when you're 10 and a half and 11. I denied all knowledge of ever being taught that, but obviously I must have known it at some point, otherwise I would never have got a long division sum right, and I wasn't that bad at maths. So that's basically how you do basic sums, but you must remember the rule of maths will be applied by Excel. Now, one other thing I want to do for this little session is look at Excel as a database. So we're looking at Excel as a table to add up things and sums and calculations and a little chart, but it can also be a database where you can have information coming in from different people. So what I want to do is just paste in some data that I've already copied from another place. So I'll just paste it into this cell. So now you've got some data, and you can see that these are squashed up a little bit, so I can go to the top and just double click like so. Or rather than doing 10 of these, I could go to the left, right in the corner I can click on this little symbol which highlights all the sheets, and then I can just double click once anywhere on any one of these, and they all get sorted out. So on this one, I've got this row of data highlighted yellow, so you can see what's going to happen when I do a sort. First of all, I want to sort this list by grade. So I'm going to click in the grade column. Now, the sort feature on the home tab is over on the right hand side over here, but I like to go into the data tab because on the data tab it sits right there in the middle. So if I want to sort this column alphabetically A to Z, I just click on A to Z like so, and you can see it just sorted it. And if I did Z to A, it'll just go the other way. If I want to sort by gender, I click in there, I do A to Z or Z to A. If I want to sort by course attended, same thing, A to Z, Z to A. So it's just doing one column, but everything is moving with it. If I want to sort by the age, oldest first, everything's moved. Now, if you want to sort by more than one column, you can't just keep doing this because it's just doing one column at a time. What you have to do then is you need to go into this sort box. So I click on sort and you tell it the order you want to sort. So it's just remembering the last one, but I'm going to change that to name. And then it's going to be, I want it on A to Z. You've got cell values there, which is correct for what I want to show you. But you could also look at this one. Cell color, cell font color, conditional formatting if you've got that on. To add extra columns, you go add level and then you select the column. So I want gender, add level, grade, add level, course attended, and last one, age. So I've got 5 levels. I'll click OK to that and it will apply those. So you look at all the Smiths, there's all the Smiths. So if I colour that yellow, just go back to the home tab. Now you can see I've got the paint pot on the top here because so I don't have to go back to the home tab. I can select it from there and just select yellow. Now how I did that was this. On the home tab I just pointed to it, clicked my right mouse button and then selected that option there, add to quick access toolbar, and up it went. So that's a good reason to do that. So now if I go back onto the data tab I can still do that. So you can see there was 2 grades, there was 4 females, 2 grade A A's. They both did the same training and then it separated them on age, 22 there. That's how you do a sort. So you don't need to highlight anything. Sometimes when you highlight things it can go wrong. So if I just go A to Z, it comes up with this sort warning. It's asking you, do you want me to expand the selection, which is yes I do. And then it'll do it. But people actually think this is a correct way to do it. It's not at all. Now the next bit is, as well as sorting a list, you can also filter a list. So if I click on filter at the top there, it puts these little drop down arrows, and in there you've got an option to filter a big list. So if I just wanted to see females, for example, I could go gender, take the tick off, select all, and just tick female, F, and then OK. And it tells me down the bottom left that there are 9 of 21 females. And then I can either drop the list down and click the tick again, or up on the top here, look, I've got clear. It's always a good advice to clear filters. So if I go to, I want equal ops training, take the tick off, tick on equal ops, click OK, and then you've got 7 of 21 people did equal ops, clear. Now you can do a bit more of a complicated filter there. I'm still doing the basics here, but if I want to know everybody that was over 50 and under 60, I could go to the age column and then go to this number filters option and select custom down the bottom. And then I need to select is greater than, and then you have to type 50. And then underneath you go is less than, and you type 60. And then OK, and it will fill it in for you. There are 3. Clear. Now in terms of ID number you can do the same. So if I want everybody that starts with a CU and ends with an XZ, I'll go in there, I'll go to text filters and custom, and I find begins with, scroll down a little bit, begins with, type CU, and then underneath I scroll down a little bit, I find ends with, and then I type XZ, click OK, and there are 2 people that marry up to that criteria, and then clear. And then you can do the same on dates as well with a date filter. So that's a very basic look at filters. There's lots more you can do with that. But this is all I want to talk about on this session. Hopefully you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one.